You don't have to. We haven't been in the past.
All right, here we go. We're on.
Oh, we've been on. Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody.
All right,
Let's see where the participants are.
they're coming in.
Everybody
Oh
coming in.
man,
Welcome, welcome. You
yeah,
had that glitch on the last call where you thought you dumped everybody out of the meeting.
I know, right? Oops. All right, all good.
All right, our friends are coming in. Welcome,
Hey
welcome
man,
to
it is
Mind Types
just
After Dark.
absolutely beautiful around here, by the way. Amazing, nothing but sunshine all day long. And as I was sitting here in this office going, I'm tired of this. I need to get the hell out of here. Uh, so anyway, all good. No complaints.
Great.
So
Ah, Jim with the promo. Thank you, Jim, my friend. It's time for Mind Types After Dark. Jim says Hubert has been cooking up a powerful new AI prompt that writes entire web pages, and he's giving us a deep dive tour of it. I sure am, Jim. Thank you for that. But originally, this is Mind Types After Dark. Can you just state for everybody what the premise of it is?
Yeah, the premise of it is let's have a little fun, be in communion. A lot of people enjoy having a drink together, whatever that drink may be, whether it's tea or otherwise. In my particular case, I have these metal ice cubes, and you put them in the freezer and they freeze so that when you have a drink, it doesn't dilute the drink with ice. So this would be metal ice cubes with little Jameson on the rocks. Cheers to everybody.
Here's
This was my
here's to
second
you.
sip.
I prefer mine with real ice because I actually prefer the dilution as you go along.
Ah, well, there you go.
That. And then show it. We all know you're a two-fisted drinker, originally. Show us what's in your other fist.
I know this was ridiculous. So I started out deciding I was going to have a glass of white wine, and then moved to the James. Then said, it'd be really cool to use my rocks. So now I have two.
There you go. All right, I'll show you what I'm drinking. And by the way, folks, this is in no way promoting drinking of alcohol. Okay, just a disclaimer. Okay, so guess what state I'm from? So I don't know if you all know New York much, but upstate New York, especially in Rochester, the area, Auburn, they really love this beer, Genesee beer, right? And every
Hmm.
spring they make this one here. Okay, and Ridgely's disqualified from answering because Ridgely speaks German in addition to four other languages. But Bach, does anybody know what Bach in German stands for and why it's called that? Well, so it's a German word, and as a matter of fact, there's a style of beer called Bach beer. Okay, and and
As a composer.
yeah, the composer, right? Not that Bach, but the meaning of Bach means billy goat, hence the billy goat on the label. And originally, I don't know if this is true or not, but supposedly the brewery that started brewing this style of beer, their accent in German, I don't know if it's Munich or not, but the way they pronounce Einbeck, they say Bach instead of Beck. And so Bach beer became known for it, and Bach means billy goat. Okay, and so this
Ah.
is a spring beer that they always make. A lot of companies make it, but anyway, Bruce says it's going to get your goat. Well, it's about to get mine. But okay, enough of that. We did promise a deep dive into some of my AI tricks, and I will do that. But that's kind of a black hole that once we fall into, we may not come back out in time to discuss mind types. So this is mind types after dark. I'm going to leave it up to our fearless leader originally to impart some mind types knowledge to us, just to keep us on track as to mind types, the big messaging, how to quickly make an impact and so forth. And I'll prompt Ridgely with one question about it, but Ridgely, you can take it in any way you want. Okay. But Ridgely and I are planning a company retreat with some of the senior people later this month. And he and I have been talking about, what to do. And I, of course, suggested, team bonding type stuff. And of course, originally comes from the personal growth world. And so, of course, he was going to do that. Okay. But originally, would something along the lines of mind types be appropriate for what we're about to do and use that as a segue into giving us some knowledge about mind types, limbic messaging, and why it's so, handy these days?
So when you understand someone's mind type, you understand why they think the way they think, why they speak the way they speak, why they act the way they act. So you can gain particular insights into each individual by really understanding their mind type. So let's say, for example, that you have somebody who is really hell-bent on making everything perfect before it gets released. Well, you might think that that's a perfectionist, but perhaps it's a connector who's all about trust and doesn't want to have something released that they can't trust it completely. So the subtleties are very, very unique. And obviously, any kind of environment that you find yourself in with your people or your clients or prospects, if you had the ability to know their mind type ahead of time, it would create a better ability to connect with them, understand them, help them, and serve them. So for me, even when I'm thinking about what is the retreat, what does it look like, right? In this particular case, for whatever the reason, we have women on our team as well, but in this particular case, it's all guys. So you start to think, okay, well, let's see, what can we involve weapons, ATVs, mud, dirt, steak, whatever the usual, right? Uh, Not to be funny. And this particular retreat happens to be on a farm in Kansas where all of those things are available readily. But you can also think, okay, who's coming? What is their mind type? What would they truly enjoy? And more importantly, what might send them in the wrong direction? What might offend them? What might hit their kryptonite in a big way such that they don't enjoy the experience and gain the benefit of the bonding and the strategizing and all that kind of stuff? So, in addition to purely um, using mind types and limbic messaging for marketing, the culture aspect is so important and so key. And when you understand someone's mind type, you can really get into, oh, that's why they acted in this particular way. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I understand it. Therefore, I'm not plugged in about it. Therefore, we can have a conversation about it and see how we both move forward together. Very, very powerful stuff that most people don't have available. Mostly it's John versus Jill. John said this, no, but Jill said that. John said Jill, John, no, no. If instead it were the giver versus the perfectionist, or the giver versus the rebel, or the connector versus the problem solver. Now we understand why there's a clash, why there's a challenge between those people, and what we can do to resolve that by bringing that to light. Hey, this person is this person is that. Um, and then instead of talking about John and Jill, you're talking about the connector and the rebel. And what happens in that dynamic, third partying the entire thing to the point where those two people who were involved don't feel like it's them. It's about the circumstance and the clash that was created by the two mind types in that moment. And it's funny because it's easy to forget this stuff, right? And so I had a situation today in my family where my younger sister is very upset about something. Well, A, I don't agree with what she's upset about. So it'd be easy to go, well, nah, 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 nah. However, because I know that my little sister is a die-hard perfectionist, diehard, like ridiculous perfectionist, I have the ability to see it from her perspective and say, oh, she's upset because this wasn't laid out clearly for her to understand so that she could make an informed decision about a sensitive situation. And it's much easier to have empathy, to have understanding, and to possibly offer a different perspective without getting plugged in because I think that her upset doesn't have any merit. Well, it doesn't have any merit to me based on my mind type, but it has immense merit to her based on hers. So to have that and to be able to do that in your day-to-day existence with whoever you're dealing with, in my particular case, more than anything, with my wife. My wife is a to the bone connector. Trust is everything to her. So to have that and have the decisions and the actions that I take run through that filter, immensely helpful. Are we perfect about it? No. Do we get into arguments sometimes? Yes, but not much. Not much. Anyway, Hubert, I know that was a little like a roundabout way of answering your question, but we're going on this retreat. We know who we're dealing with. We know what the personalities are, and I think we're going to have a great time. And oh, by the way, I have confirmed that we will have a clay pigeon shooting lesson from a very serious clay pigeon instructor on the day that we get there in the afternoon, assuming it's not raining.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. Can you, I don't know if it's within reach, but can you bring up the reach over for the seven mind type characters and just roll through the seven mind types for anybody that's new
Yeah,
on the
one
call,
second.
please?
I'll get it. Maybe two
Great.
seconds.
Okay, that'd be awesome because originally it's talking about the mind types, but there are seven of them, and I think it would behoove us all to kind of just get a quick review of the seven, and then we'll move on. And
Okay.
also, I'm not sure if originally this is going to get into it, but depending on what your mind type is, you either get along fabulously or not so fabulously with other mind types. So there's that dynamic that Ridgely was referring to earlier about possibly some mind types clashing.
So I'm going to run through the mind types real quick, but we're going to run through the mind types in a context. So you can see that no matter where you are, the issues that might come up for you are going to come up largely based on your mind type. So, and we're going to go in order from we start with the most where there are the more of them. In other words, the bigger demographic. First one is the giver. The giver is the person that loves to make a difference, add value to others. They want to contribute however they can. They're all about causes, making causes. That's their superpower. And they tend to overcommit to certain things, say yes to too much. That is their kryptonite. So, in the context of clay pigeon shooting, the giver is always going to be the person saying, "No, no, you go first. It's okay. I'll go later. No, you go ahead. It's all right." Give up their spot, so to speak, even if internally they're like, "Oh man, this is so cool. I so want to do this." They're the ones that are going to step aside and let somebody else go before they do. All right. Number two, the connector. The connector is all about bonds and relationships. Trust is their superpower. They always do what they say they're going to do. They show up when they say they're going to show up. Trust is so powerful in their world. And so, how's that going to apply in the clay pigeon world? They're going to be like, okay, well, hey, we got to be safe here. Like everybody step back. Oh, no, no. I mean, he said we all need to stand back here. We got to stand back here so the person in front's not endangering anybody else because these are shotguns and they shoot things. And that's going to be the connector at the clay pigeon lesson, right? And by the way, for anybody that might not know what shooting clay pigeons is, a clay pigeon is a literally like a little round disc, like a plate. It is designed to emulate the flight of a pigeon in flight. And so there are tournaments all over the country and around the world, I would imagine, of who can hit the most clay pigeons. People that are good at this can hit 100 of them in a row. And by the way, hitting one of them is damn hard. Okay. So it's like ridiculous because they fly out in different directions really fast. And you got to go with your gun and try to shoot them. Okay. So, problem solver, the person that makes sense out of things, clarifies things, simplifies things. They're all about coming up with options and possibilities. Solutions is their superpower. They need to know all the data or they get into paralysis, which is their kryptonite. So on a clay pigeon shoot, where's the problem solver? He's going to be looking around going, how could we make this a little, how could I get it? How can I do this kind of thing? Uh, oh, and if they don't have enough information, they're going to be like, can you say that again, please? Can you explain that to me? What do you mean it's going to fly like that? And sometimes it goes like that. You mean like the thing is going to trigger it in different directions, and they're going to want to get explanations to make sense out of the situation. All right. Next one is the innovator. The innovator is the better way person, always looking to find a better way to do anything and everything. That's why they innovate. Innovation or improvements are actually their superpower. And so what are they going to be doing? They're going to be like, well, yeah, but what if we try to shoot it like this? Talking to the instructor. Now, I see what you're saying, but you're telling me I got to follow, I got to lead that thing and then pull the trigger. But what if I tried this? But what if I did this? They're always going to be trying to find a better way to do anything and everything. Then you've got the perfectionist, the right way person. There's a right way to do things. Things should be done right. If you follow the sequence and there's a system, their superpower, much easier. So what's the perfectionist going to be doing? Okay, so they're going to be like this. Okay, so I stand right here, right? And I put my gun like this. And you're saying that the way to do this is that I follow the clay pigeon. No, I got to get ahead of the pigeon. So would it look like this? You're saying I got to do it this way, right? So if I do it A and then B and then C, then maybe I got a chance at hitting the clay pigeon. That's what's going to happen with the perfectionist. Okay. Then you have the rebel. The rebels are the people who are constantly challenging anything and everything. These are the disruptors, the creators of the new normal. They especially challenge the status quo. So when the instructor says, well, the way you do this is this, the rebel's going to say, really? Well, I got my own way of doing things. I don't think I should do it that way. I think if I did it this way, I could have a better chance of hitting those clay pigeons. And of course, in this particular case, they're going to be dead wrong because it's really hard to hit the thing in the first place. And then finally, you have the master. These are the intellectual giants, the people who are super, super smart uh, and always want to go to the next level, take it, go deeper on things. So they're standing out there at the clay pigeons. They go like, well, how does the clay pigeon launch the thing? What's the launching mechanism for that clay pigeon? Oh, so it launches like this. So the likelihood it's probably going to go like that. So is there a difference if it goes this way or this way versus the way you should spin? No. Well, yeah, but what if we did that? Always trying to, in essence, take it to another level in terms of their understanding. And we shall see how we both do, Hubert Lee. We can
Yeah.
compare notes and return back with data to this mastermind about who the hell could hit a clay pigeon. I'm telling you, they're damn hard. I've tried before.
There you go. Except that you misunderstand the approach of a master to the clay pigeon thing. It's the same approach for everything. Just do it 1,000 times, then do it another 1,000 times, then do it another 1,000 times. That's all.
Well, the clay pigeons are expensive, so 1,000
There
of them
you
is kind
go.
of
There
fun.
you go. They go on sale at Walmart.
You only get this many this time around.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so thank you for that, Ridgely. That's awesome. One thing I want to tie it into marketing though is this. In this mastermind, we talk a lot about limbic messaging, okay, and the ability to kind of turn what you say into an emotionally resonating statement, okay. And so many entrepreneurs have difficulty talking about themselves. So can you please tie into us why it's important to understand your mind type, how you can connect with your prospect through expressing what you, based on your mind type, believe, and why that's like a guaranteed, like, you know, shortcut into having them resonate with you. This is the magic sauce right here of our entire approach. And people often don't make the connection as to why should I bother to understand myself through my mind type? And like, what does that have to do with like expressing my why that comes with that?
So most people have heard or somehow gotten to a place where they think that they're supposed to speak to who they think they want to attract to their business. Oh, I want to attract these kind of people, so I gotta learn how to speak to them. I want to attract these kind of people, so I got to learn how to hit their emotional buttons, hit their pain points, or whatever. I'm going to suggest to everybody that authenticity is the new currency. That the thing that most people are looking for today in the world is authentic, genuine communication where we're being real. There's so much noise, there's so much static, There's so much social media, and now with AI, the ability to create a persona that is so real, except that they're not, that it's a little bit crazy, right? And so the way to really create a genuine connection with someone is to express who you are authentically and genuinely, so that that person has the ability to raise their hand and say, that's my kind of people. That's the type of person I want to be associated with. These are the people that I want to do business with, and therefore I want to be with them. That does not mean that they are your same mind type. That's not the point. The point is being authentic. If I say something like, I believe in long-term relationships, if you believe in, and it's real for me, and you believe in long-term relationships, it doesn't matter what your mind type is, there's an instant connection.
So
At the
that's an
same
example. That's an example of a limbic message.
Correct. And at the same time, it could be very different. I believe in disrupting the status quo. Wow, really? Well, a lot of people might be like, well, I don't. You're not my kind of people. But the people that do believe in disrupting the status quo are going to double down on, man, hell yeah, that's my dude right there, and connect immediately. And obviously, what does that do? It builds that trust factor. Know, like, and trust are the reasons why people buy stuff. And trust is at the top of the list. So you build that trust factor, people are much more likely to be drawn to you and then be able to say yes to whatever it is that your offer is. And that's how that whole thing ties together. Express your authentic self to the marketplace first, and then allow those people who believe what you believe to be drawn to you, simultaneously rejecting those that don't believe what you believe, because you don't want those people. They're a pain in the butt. If they don't see the world the way you do, they see it very, very differently. All they're going to do is be confrontational and a pain in the butt. You don't want them.
Exactly. Now, in that example, that's kind of a very subtle example that Ridgely gave, and I think it's worth 15 seconds to dive into it. Ridgely pulled out a belief statement that's very limbic, that's based on what somebody as a rebel would say. Okay, so now Ridgely correctly points out that all the other rebels would instantly get excited, but because you're being sincere and expressing who you are based on your core beliefs as a mind type, people sense that authenticity. And originally, a connector would vibe with it because they can sense that authenticity come through. So you're appealing beyond that mind type just by being sincere in what you express. You get these ancillary benefits from being sincere.
Yeah. And it also creates an understanding factor. Like, let's suppose that a connector was not into disruption at all. They wanted to be in a safe space, because that is very, very normal. At least they would understand where you're coming from. And they could ask, why do you feel that way? Oh, because when disruption happens, although it's short term, a little bit uneasy for a lot of people, in the long term, it ends up creating a much better space for everybody. And the connector would then say, oh, so short term pain, long term gain in a space that I like, which is a improvement, a safer zone here, etc. I can relate to that, even if I have an instant reaction of pushing away the concept of disruption.
Right. Exactly. Yes. And so
So,
the limbic statement where you say something is very carefully constructed. And I want Richard to explain this, and I'm going to share with everybody a resource on how to get AI to help you express your limbic messages. But originally, why is it that in the formats that we um, suggest, why is it that people can't like say, well, no, you aren't? I mean, like, why is the formula so great in these like, four different expressions of limbic messaging? Why does it work all the time?
Because when somebody makes a declarative statement, well, this is the way it's always been done. It instantly triggers the reaction of, really? Well, according to who is that any good? Or when somebody says, well, the way you got to do this is this. Immediately the reaction is, says who? Where's the data? Why do I have to do it that way, etc. By contrast, limbic messages are an invitation into a thought. So when I say, you deserve to be heard, yeah, damn right I deserve to be heard. That's exactly right. In other words, there's an instant feeling of, that's right. If I say something like, well, we do this because your success matters. Well, that's right. My success does matter. Even though it sounds declarative, it's just an invitation into a thought, as opposed to, well, we have the very best company in the world at doing this thing. Really? Says who? According to what?
Exactly. Yes.
As
Exactly.
opposed to, we believe that our mechanisms and strategies are very effective and can help you get ahead. Oh, well, that's legitimate. I hope you believe in your strategies because, damn, if you don't
Right.
believe in your strategies, why the hell would I hire you? Right. So the invitation into a thought, as opposed to a declarative statement, is what makes a limbic message so easy to receive and experience. And you want the person to not only receive the message, but experience the message like, oh, yeah, I do deserve to be heard. That's exactly right.
Exactly. And so, Richly, tell the audience, please, the four formats that we always recommend in terms of limbic messaging. There are many others, but these four are like guaranteed. What are the four? And then I'll explain what I dropped into the chat.
Yeah, no, for sure. There are the four that we believe are the easiest ones to embrace quickly, and those are: we believe statements, we believe in long-term relationships, we believe in protecting the environment, we believe in a safe space for all, that kind of a thing. Number one. Number two is because something matters, because the environment matters, because the community matters, because doing the right thing matters, because your health matters, etc. The third one is you deserve statements. You deserve to be heard, the one I used earlier. You deserve success in your business. You deserve to be on the cutting edge. You deserve to know what's coming next. Whatever, all those are invitations into a thought. And then finally, we picture a world where, insert the blank. So we picture a world where people are free to express their ideas. We picture a world where your success comes easily. We picture a world where your smile imparts confidence. Whatever it may be, it's just a thought that somebody goes, oh, that feels right to me. That feels good to me. I'm down with this.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so let me share my screen and show everybody what I actually shared with everybody and explain why it's so valuable to have it written out this way. Okay, so here is here's a text file that I just dropped into the chat. Okay, that basically defines and lets you train the AI session that you're in what to do about limbic messaging. Okay. So you're asking it for something, just add this. And I'll show you an example. The content should appeal to emotional benefits and include short limbic messages. Use limbic messaging so that my copy really attracts and resonates. Okay. Limbic statements come in the form of we believe, you deserve, because something matters, and we picture a world. This is exactly what Ridgely just said, right? But it's written out so that you can quickly educate your AI engine to understand that. Use words in these phrases that evoke warm images and feelings in the reader. Keep the phrases short and emotional. They are best placed at the beginning sections of the content and at the end. Vary the form of the limbic messages and use each of the forms we believe you deserve because something matters and we picture a world no more than once each in the output. You're not required to use all the forms of the limbic messages. Keep the output natural sounding. Keeping it natural sounding is important. Okay, so obviously, this is way beyond the definition that Ridgely gave. This is honed over using this hundreds of times. And I'm going to give you an example. Okay. So I'm going to go to ChatGPT. Well, actually, let me, okay. So actually, let me describe this. Okay. Originally, and I have noticed that lately we've been using ChatGPT, that it seems to have been like getting better at remembering our preferences. And so originally, they finally made official what we suspected. Look at, I just logged into ChatGPT tonight, and look, it's saying this. Hey, introduce new improved memory. ChatGPT can now remember more of your past chats so that you don't need to repeat yourself as often. Want to know what's changed? Just ask. So they're officially announcing originally something that you and I suspected, that it's been like learning from us and what we prefer. So very, very interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And let me just add something there before
Yep.
you go on. And that's the following. Team, we love you, and it's important to be aware. This is not going away. It's only going to get better and more intelligent. So
Yeah.
even if it feels weird, like I've had these conversations, people go, "Oh my God, that scares the hell out of me." Well,
Yes.
you can be scared or you can be aware. You can be intimidated or you can be empowered. This is not going anywhere. So the more we use this, the more we become the kind of people that say, hey, I'm going to learn how to do this so that I can be on the right side of the equation, fear versus empowered, the better off you're going to be because it's not stopping. It's only going to accelerate.
Exactly. Okay, so now let me show you an example of how I use a chart chat. Okay, so I'm gonna show it using DeepSeek. Okay, and yes, I know there are issues. Okay, believe me, nobody dislikes the Chinese Communist Party more than me and my family. I can guarantee you that 100%. Okay, but anyway, let me just put that aside and show this to you in DeepSeek. I came in cold into DeepSeek, no account, anything. So I'm just saying, act as a copywriter and give me some copy to promote me as an SEO expert that can help local businesses show up on page one in Google. Okay, so it gives me this: get your business on page one guaranteed, blah, blah, blah. I can do this, this, and this. Okay, so now I said this: understand this, meaning the following, and then rewrite the copy so that it's more limbic. Okay, now look, this is the quote, this is that prompt that I just dropped all of you. Okay, so definitely save it from the chat or ping me or send me an email asking me for it. I define limbic messaging and I ask it to rewrite the copy so that it's more limbic. Use limbic messaging so that my copy really attracts and resonates. And this is what it did. And Richly, you tell me if you like the before or the after. You deserve to be found by customers who need you. We believe every local business should thrive, not get buried on page five. Right now, blah, 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 but they're clicking on your competitors instead because visibility matters. Let's change that. Blah, 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 blah. We picture a world where, let's make it happen. What do you think, Ridgely?
So dramatically different as to be like it's the Pee Wee leagues versus the big leagues. Crazy.
Exactly. Right? And the difference is because I have no doubt that DeepSeek or any other AI thought that this answer here is what I needed. When I tell it, no, I'm a human. I know what other humans react to, and I'm going to make it emotional and do it in this format. Suddenly, like magic happens, right? So AI is not quite understanding like how to speak to humans yet. So if you ask it or tell it to speak in a limbic way and define what it is originally, all of us will get a lift in our conversions and everything else.
Well, and it's so important, everybody, to use the tools. It is insane. So, today, and we always give real case scenarios, right? We always referring to situations where um, uh, we use the tool in real time in the last day or two. So I went on a midday bike ride. I took a little break, went on a bike ride. And as I'm riding home, knowing that I have a 2 o'clock appointment with a client, I think to myself, oh man, I forgot to do the work this morning to be ready for this client meeting and the next iteration of what they're expecting from me, which is a full-blown PowerPoint presentation, PDF presentation, etc. And
I'm cracking up because now it's revealed to me, Richly, why you called me 20 minutes prior to the meeting. I'm cracking up.
right. So I roll into my driveway and we have a clock on the outside of the building. And I was thinking maybe I'm going to get a chance to clean up, take a shower, whatever. No. It's now 20 minutes to 2. 20 minutes to 2. So I come down to my computer, ping Hubert, and said, okay, dude, I got to talk about a bunch of stuff, but here's the thing. We now have 18 minutes before the client is showing up on this Zoom right here. And we have done zero since our last meeting to update the PowerPoint and PDF presentation that we are presenting to them. So I
And
then said,
meanwhile, I'm being my usual jovial, charming self and diverting Richly with stories about this, that, and the other thing, and this tangent and that tangent and the other tangent. And then finally, it's like
I'm like,
10
shut the
minutes
frick up,
ago
man.
when Richly
We
gets me
need
back
to
on
do
track.
this thing, okay? So there's now 18 minutes left before the client is showing up, right? And I'm like, okay, Hubert, I need your expertise here. This is what I've developed so far. Let's grab this. Let's grab their website. Let's grab their thing. What do we do? And walk us through what we did. Because by the time they got on the call,
Yeah.
we were done with a brand new presentation, which was 16 minutes later.
Yes. Okay. So now I'm going to share my screen and turn this into a teaching moment and kind of just impress upon you all that you get what you ask for from AI. So you have to be intentional in what you ask for. All right. So let me just like go and find that here, right here today. Co brochure copy expansion. Okay. So let me just bring up the whole thing. Let me see where we are.
Where we
Um,
started.
where we started. So let me go over here and go, maybe it's at the very top. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Ridgely's all in a panic. I'm telling stories. I'm doing this, that, and the other thing. And Ridgely's like, it's 18 minutes. Listen to me. And I'm like, okay. So I said to Ridgely, all right, what do you want me to do? And I said, okay, this document that we worked on, give me access to it. It was a Google Doc. And so the first thing I did was save it as a PDF. And the first thing I did, if you look at the bottom of my screen, see this plus sign right here? If you hover, and I'm in ChatGPT plus, okay? But this concept is similar in all the tools. There's a way to upload a file. So I hit the plus sign and I uploaded this PDF. Okay, it was just a big old PDF that originally worked on and blah 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 whatever. And of course, I didn't even read it. I just asked him, is it in this document?" And he said yes. So I made a PDF out of it. Okay, so I said, "Originally, tell me what you need." So he told me. So I wrote this: act as an expert copywriter, help me create copy for a company brochure, right? Because what we had was for slides, and it wasn't. We needed a PDF, but it was up to me to realize, okay, let me. If I use the word brochure, AI is going to do something. The company is this, the website is this. Okay, now ChatGPT has a website to go to do some research. Okay, I have uploaded draft copy. That's this document here. The document currently has contents for a slide presentation, but the slide should be expanded to a length suitable for a PDF brochure. Look, folks, here's our magic sauce. Always use the magic sauce. Use limbic statements to make the presentation impactful. Got it. Blah blah blah. Here's the game plan. Blah blah blah. Whatever. Okay. So it goes and gives us this. So it goes and it writes and blah 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 and blah blah blah. Whatever. Okay. So originally, and I like spent a couple of minutes vetting this thing. We looked at the before and we looked at the after, and then originally it's like, oh, but it needs to be longer, right? You see how it says like from this to that, and it's got our bullets, and you deserve whatever. So it's got the limbic, but it doesn't have like anything extra. So I was thinking, oh, it needs some extra like benefits or something, right? And it asked, would you like me to also describe blah 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 whatever? And I ignored that. Okay. So you do not have to say yes to whatever it suggests. It's trying to be helpful. I wanted to keep it on track. So I said, please reformat so that each section is mapped to the slide numbers because I was getting lost. And it says, oh, of course. So now it goes and translates it and says, slide one, here's the thing, and slide two, here's the thing. So that was a formatting thing. Okay. So let me scroll back to the next thing. Okay. Now I say this. Further expand each slide's copy so that it's more in depth helpful, and longer, right? So listen, folks, if you need it more in depth, if you need it more helpful and you need it longer, just say that in your instructions. So I said, so that each section is a full page in the brochure. Perfect. Thanks for clearing that up. You're asking me to do this, this, this. So here, now I'll add depth. Now it goes and says, okay, visually, here's the magic sauce. It's going to add specific benefits for the client, right? So now full
Wait, don't go
expanded
so
page.
fast. It's going to add
Yep.
specific benefits, common problem solved, proof points, and a trust building close at the end of each section. And again, now we're 9 minutes into the 16 minutes that we have before the client is showing up. Okay, here we go.
Yes, exactly. So I'm like, okay, good. Like, okay. So folks, think of it this way. If you had a team member that was expert in this situation, there you go. You just call them up using ChatGPT or whatever your AI is. And there's your like, egghead expert, right? So you take them out of the closet, you get that going, but you have to give like explicit instructions, right? So here's now the thing. So now it's longer and now it's feeling good. And like
Well,
Richard
let's
is
take a
like,
look at one. Let's take a look at one of those because
okay,
pick any one of those. You can
okay,
see it used to be slide
yeah,
format only, and
right.
now there's slide 7. Smart, secure, and seamless. Modern, dude, I can't see. Modern
Sorry,
business
sorry,
is
sorry.
run on technology, and it must work invisibly, intelligently, and consistently. At S&T Group, we believe technology should solve problems before they happen. That's why our technology, blah, blah, blah. Our technology solutions include A, B, C. What makes our technology services different is one, two, three. Scroll down a little bit. Because expertise matters, we've spent 40 years mastering our craft. You deserve technology that works so well, you barely notice it's there until you need it most. Boom. I mean, that's
Exactly.
so much better. And now we're like 3 minutes away from the client showing up.
Exactly. So now I'm like, Rich, let's choose one of the topics and make sure it's got like benefits and stuff. So we're looking at like plumbing and it's got this stuff. And then now here's some benefits. Preventative plumbing does this, durable. I'm like, good. Let's look at another one, right? And controls and automation. Folks, I know nothing about controls and information and automation, but look, here's some benefits. So we go and we're like looking at this, and then it says done. This gives you a professional brochure, this, that, and the other thing. So it's trying to be helpful and give you more. But at this point, Richard says, dude, I got it. Copy and paste that and put it in the document. And like we had 3 minutes to go, and Richard says, like, okay, so we'll meet here. And then boop, 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 the client just jumps on early. You want to pick it
Yeah.
up from there, Rich?
Yeah. Client jumps on early. They're like, hey, how y'all doing? It's good. Good to see you. It's been a little while since we had this. And so here's what we did. We took all the work we've been doing for the last couple months and we put it together and we expanded everything to look like a brochure. I'm going to walk you through this for a minute or so, just so you can see what we're doing. But what we really need from you is for you guys to go back and revise this and make sure that we're on track, etc. Because if this works for you, we're ready to go to the final stage, create the PowerPoints and deliver the slides that you need, et cetera, et cetera. Boom, job finished. And they're like, okay, let me see. Oh, wow, this is really good. This looks really great. Okay, well, we'll have a chance to look at this tomorrow or by latest Monday. We'll get it back to you and then we can move forward to the next step. I think the meeting was maybe, what, 12 minutes?
Exactly. Yes.
Boom, done, out the door, finished. I mean, or you could do it the hard way.
Yes, you
Just
could do it the
saying,
hard
why would you do it the hard way, man? I mean,
way.
do I agree with what happened today in principle? No. We should have started a couple days ago and got it done. We're just trying to showcase the power of the tool. When you understand how to use this tool, it is so ridiculous because it wouldn't have mattered if we had started 2 days ago. It would not have been much better than what we got today in the 16 minutes that we had to get it done. It wouldn't have. Maybe a
Right.
tiny bit, maybe a little. But when you're iterating and you have time constraints and whatever, the tool is so fast and so thorough that you don't have to stress about it. You just have to use it. So, anyway, I just want to say that because it was a classic example of an OMG. Right. Oh, dude, wait. No, we got AI. Bada bing, bada bing, bada bing, bada bing, bada bing. Done. Finished.
Exactly. Okay, cool. Now, Now that we've wet our whistle on AI, originally, I'm going to reveal the AI prompt that I've been, myself and our team, we've been under the gun, running and gunning to meet a deadline for one of our clients. And I'll describe that in a second. But before we actually go into the prompt that's making it all possible, let me just catch up on the chat here. So originally, Dr. Art says, my primary mind type is problem solver, with innovator being a close second, as we know. And my business is teaching manufacturers how to avoid defects. So that's awesome. That's like applying your mind type into, your offering, which is cool. Okay. Jim is asking this, a question. Do most mind types get along, or are they in conflict with the others? What do you say about that?
Well, that's a huge question, Jim. Okay. So the answer is uh, if their superpowers are complementary, they will get along naturally. If their kryptonites clash, they will not. So, for example, uh, a connector that's all about safety and trust naturally is not going to get along with a rebel that's all about challenging the status quo. That's not a natural blend. And you can go across the mind types, and we could do that in another session, Hubert, where we do a full-blown analysis of each of them. Whereas there are certain ones that are really going to complement each other that you wouldn't even think about. Like an innovator that's always looking for improvements, their superpower, is actually going to get along really well with a rebel that is challenging the status quo because they're both looking for the same result, something different in a unique way that is their own, but they're looking for a different result. So they would get along really, really well. You would think, for instance, that maybe the connector and the giver, which are both emotionally based mind types, would get along really well. But the truth is that's not so because the giver overcommits, that's their kryptonite, and it clashes with the trust factor of getting things done of the connector. So oftentimes givers and connectors clash in a very big way. It's too big of a topic to get into in just a couple of minutes, but Hubert, certainly in a upcoming mastermind, I would be more than delighted to do a deeper dive.
Awesome. And then Bill is saying, I forget the context that he mentioned this in, but it was something that you had said originally, and he said, we get that in IT all the time. Quote, why are you doing X, Y, and Z process, task, program, question mark? We're always done it that way. No frame of reference for improvement or whether it was correct when taught to them. Thanks for raising it originally. So
Yeah,
just
for
thank you
sure.
for
And that's why even in IT, it of course you're going to have your people who are very good. They're architecturally designed, right? They're perfectionists. They're systems people, and that makes a lot of sense. But you also want to throw the rebel in there that goes, well, why should we do it this way? Why don't we do it this way? Why don't we put 1,000 songs in my pocket? Oh, anybody remember that? Way back when Steve Jobs, first major product from Apple, right? So the iPod, way back when. So we want those kind of people as well, although you want less of those than you want of the people who are going to get something done in an IT department.
exactly, exactly. Okay, so all right, so now, folks, with that all cleared out of the way, and thank you all for the commentary and everything in the chat, I'm going to reveal the um, AI prompt that I wanted to discuss. But I want to have Richly give us the little bit of background. Actually, before I do that, Richly, I'm just going to jump everybody into it and share my screen and share an
All right,
observation. Okay,
let's
I'm going
do
to
it.
share an observation, and we're gonna show this in the dental space, but this is in by no means just um related to dental. Okay, so originally 50 states. Choose a state. Choose a state. Top of mind. Give me a state.
Massachusetts.
Okay. Okay. Dentist in Massachusetts. Okay. Again, I have no idea who we're gonna find. We're just gonna go to like, okay, Dudley Family Dental. Okay, there's Mr. Dudley. Okay. There's his there's it. Okay. So originally, right away, they're doing something right. Look, originally they know the trick. Put a little SEO H1 above this thing here. So already you know they're like way ahead of the game. Okay. But anyway, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna go to one of the services. Okay. Okay, dentures. All right, here we go. All right. So here's the issue with most websites. And again, regardless if you're a dentist or not, okay, you go to a website and there's a collection of like stuff.
Yes, it's
The
data.
cost of
It's about the
the
data.
cost of dentures, the benefit of dentures, like there's no like narrative as to like if you met somebody on the street and they asked you about what you do or whatever, you wouldn't just randomly start spewing stuff about whatever. Like Bolton Dental. Let's look at this one. Okay, so we're in
You're going a little too
Massachusetts.
fast, bro. You're going too fast, by the way.
Okay, I'm gonna slow down. I'm gonna speak slowly. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Bolton Dental, we do all of this stuff, and we're gonna go
That, by
and
the
look
way,
at
among the two, let's just stop for a second.
yeah,
The first one was clean and
yes,
clear, and although it was largely neocortex based, it
yes,
was uh, just a recitation of what they did. This website is complicated and a pain in the ass. I don't
yes,
like, there's very little I like about this website. Way too complex. My mind goes all over the place. It's not, it's not soothing to me as a visitor at all.
yes, exactly. Okay, and so I'm just clicking around and like I'm in dental services and I'm in gum disease. Okay, and so now it's like all kind of what causes gum disease, risk factors of gum disease, treating gum disease, and it's just like stuff. There's like there's like no narrative. Okay. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna go into our Hamilton Lakes dentistry. So this is one of our real clients who has this current website that, and I'll let Ridgely tell the story, but like they told us they're not happy with this website, and they want a better kind of uh website, right? So like look at this website. Like there's tooth stains, there's at home bleaching,
It's
there's
just
again,
information. It's
it's
just data.
information. Right. Okay. So folks, what I'm going to show you tonight is how to translate like stuff on your website into like a cohesive story. Okay. And so, and originally, I don't know how much of this you want to share, but we actually went and did an exercise where we made each of these sections limbic. And
Mhm.
while it was okay, it's better than it was, it had limited impact. Why? Because we weren't telling a story. And originally
Mhm.
they came to you and they said, listen, it really isn't telling the story about us. Do you want to spend a second just mentioning that?
No, that's what they said. They just they appreciated what we had done, but they just didn't like it. And we've got to get to a place where the client likes the work.
Exactly. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to share the secret sauce. Now, originally, I've been working with our team and giving them instruction on how to do all of this. And I'm going to reveal like no kidding. If I myself saw this a year ago, I would be like, oh my God, listen, I'll pay you $10,000 to have a 1 hour meeting with me and just like reveal all of this. And originally, I'm gonna like just spill the beans now. Okay. So look, originally, basically what I do is this, and Ridgely knows this already because he knows how I work with our team. But if I have an assignment to give, I'll go in here and I'll say, listen, the dental bonding page, I'm assigning it to AWL, and here's the URL, right here. And again, this is the before, right? Like who's a good candidate, the benefit, and it's okay. I mean, we had another team come in here and actually rewrite this. So this one is limbic because healthy teeth matter, right? And so it is better than it used to be. But the client said it's not enough. Okay. So I went and I created this new version where, if we look at it, let's just go and look at it. Okay. Okay. So again, this is my instruction to the web designer that's going to create the new version of this dental bonding page. Okay. So here's where we slow down a little bit and I explain how we do it step by step. Okay. And we're coming up on the hour. So if anybody has to go, I totally understand that. You can catch this on the recording. Okay. But the first thing I did was this. I created a template. And originally I've shown you this, but I created a template, right? That's highly limbic. It's about you deserve. It's because something matters. It's very pleasant in that it doesn't look very text heavy. There are these little expansion things that you can use to expand it if you want. But there's all kinds of limbic messages that we talked about during this call. You deserve. We picture a world. We believe. It's very pleasant, right? Welcome. And then you can click to learn more. And here's learn more, and here's FAQs because Google loves FAQs, but it's like it only becomes big in text if you want it to be. Otherwise, it's very like limbically driven and lots of pictures to look at and so forth. Okay, so that's the template. Now here's what I do originally. Each of these templates, if I'm going to be serious about using this template, I'm like, okay, here's section 1. It's got a you deserve statement. It says section 2. It's got a headline that says this. It's got an intro type of thing. Welcome. Okay, so this is telling a narrative. Here's how you can get the smile of your dreams. Why? It's because whatever. We set the limbic thing. Then we welcome them. We talk about our team. First, we talk about them. Then we talk about us. Then we give them a little proof right away and how they deserve this and they deserve that, and we believe this and we believe that. So they're all nodding their head, right? That's the narrative. As you come here, now we get into the details about cosmetic dentistry and this, that, and the other thing. Okay. Now here is where I created. Okay, so I got so excited that I didn't really like prep this, but let's just go and search and call it and find the secret sauce. Okay, prompt, and here's the prompt. Okay, look at this, folks. Okay, I created a prompt for the inner pages of the website. Okay, now this is for that dental bonding page. Okay, so let me show you the dental bonding page. This is there before. Okay, because healthy teeth matter, blah blah blah, whatever. Or this is like I took that and I said, and remember, this is the prompt that I'm going to put in AI. Okay, now the prompt is long. I spent days on this prompt. Okay, iterating it, testing it, seeing what the result is. Okay, before I gave it to my team. That's my job to give them the content to create on the page. Write a new web page for Hamilton Lakes for the following topic: dental bonding. Okay, the language should be friendly and simple, straightforward grammar, and avoid AI fluff words. Okay? Current draft is provided for your reference. Here's what I did, folks. I went and I took the current stuff and I actually went and copied it like this. I highlighted it and I go and I put it here. Start of current draft copy. And I pasted all of this. Okay, I pasted it. And then I tell it when it ends. And I said, this is the end of the draft copy. Now, folks, I'm several hundred words in already, and this is still my prompt. I haven't asked AI for anything. I'm like telling it what I want to do. This is what it takes. You should use the draft copy, that's all of the stuff above, as appropriate in a new version of the page that you're creating. I am creating a new web page. I need the content you produce to follow the standard layout that I've defined here. Start of the layout. You see how I'm like talking to like a 5-year-old, right? This is what you have to do. The interior pages will follow the standard layout. The reference template is this URL. So if it wants to go and check, I give it the URL. Okay, that's that template page that I showed you. Now I go and I tell it, section 1 is a navigation header. You don't need to do anything for this. Section 2 is a hero section. That's like the top image, right? And I tell it exactly what it has. It's got an H1 that has an SEO meaning. It's got an H2 that's a limbic statement. It's got directions. It's got buttons. It's got this. It's got that. Then I say under that, there's section 3, a page headline that incorporates the page topic and a limbic statement. Then there's an introduction text. Then there's an image gallery. And again, folks, look, let me just show you in the template. Again, all of this stuff here I described. Here's the hero section up here. Then there's an introduction headline. And this is the introduction section. And then there's a slide thing. So I define it. Now, this is where people like say, this is a lot of work. I'm like, yeah, this is a lot of work. And it's taken me days to create this prompt. But once I do it, the creation of it and the deployment of it to my team becomes more effortless, right? So if I take a day or two to write this big, gigantic prompt, it's going to pay back in a big way. Introduction
So
text
what's the output?
section, and I tell it the intro section should have at least 200 words. Then I say here's the image gallery. You need to produce 5 different limbic statements, and here's the headline, and here's the detail. I mean, I go on and on and on. Look at this, folks. I go on and on and on. Then I say end of the layout. Then I say, please give me the content I need for the new version of the page. Follow best practices for SEO. Then I tell it, when the web page is completely written, provide me with a complete reprint of the copy that you produced so that I can copy and paste from it. Make sure it's complete with all the copy. Do not simply reprint the outline. Make sure that you cover blah, 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 whatever. Okay. So this is for dental bonding. So here's dental bonding page. Now here's the output for it, folks. Look, this is what's going to our web designer. It tells you exactly for the page headline, do this, for the H1, do this, for the H2, do this, for the intro text, do this. In the image gallery, put in these 5 limbic statements. Underneath that, make a headline that says this. Underneath that, put this text, and so on and so forth. And then look, even here with the FAQ, in the column 1 of the FAQ, create a provocative question and have this headline right here. And paragraph 1 is this, and paragraph 2 is this. And in the FAQ accordion, you got these 6 FAQ questions, 7. Then there's a headline, and then there's all of this. So what I do then is I go and I assign this out to the team. So like, for example, here, this dental bonding page got assigned to AWL, and this is the page that it currently looks like. And your job is to turn this into the documentation that is in this. So originally, this is as clear as it gets. And I invite anybody that needs this level of like troubleshooting with a prompt. And it's a big job. It takes days to get the machine set up so that you can do what takes weeks in a matter of days. So originally, I know that was a lot, and I'm willing to have follow-up calls with, people one-on-one to explain this. But this is what like high level, pro level, like use of AI for building website pages. This is what it takes.
Yeah, because basically what you're doing is you're saying, I'm going to invest a ton of time on the front end to create the right instructions so that even if it takes me a day or two, building a website that's 150 pages long takes weeks and weeks and a lot of effort, as opposed to once all that is done, cut, paste, upload, click, cut, paste, upload, click, cut, paste, upload, click, result, 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 deploy, 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 done.
Yes, exactly. And that part, I'm 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 happy to help the workers do that, but at the end of the day, as the architect, I have to create the plan, and the plan is the hard part, and that's what AI can help with. And again, Richly, it's not like AI taking out jobs, but somebody using AI is going to take out jobs.
For sure, man, for sure. And that's why we need to constantly be doing this and be thinking, how else can I use the tool? I mean, when I was riding home today from my ride, I was like, oh, the first thought, and geez, God, I can't believe I forgot to do that. And we got a client meeting, yada, yada. And I was like, I got time. I was literally riding down the road, looking at my phone. What time is it? Oh, it's 1:22. The meeting's at 2. I'm 20 minutes from the house. 20 minutes to get to the call. We got this. No problem. Right? Now, I'm not
Yeah.
suggesting that anybody should do that. That's just what happened to us today. And almost on this mastermind, we every week we come up with a use case scenario where we're using AI to do the work that we do every day much more effectively. So please, that's, I think, the big takeaway here. It is such a powerful tool. We just got to keep using it. All right, Hubert, next week,
Yes.
we're meeting Wednesday the 16th. Wednesday the 16th at 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific. Be there or be a dodecahedron. And I will see you there. We'll have a great time. Have a great weekend, everybody. Hubert, go ahead. What do you got for us? Come on.
Okay, I got a joke for you because I know you've been fasting, you haven't eaten, and I haven't had my dinner. So originally, here's a food related one that I'm sure you're gonna love, originally. Are
I
you
can't
ready?
wait. Yeah.
What do you call a fake noodle? What do you call a fake noodle?
What do you call it? I have no idea.
An impasta.
Hey, Bruce beat you to it, man. He had that brother Bruce. Love you, man.
Exactly. No, no, no. Bruce knows way more jokes than I do. Now,
Shit.
his Jim with a comment, not really a joke, but you mentioned about clay pigeons, and being that you guys come from the East Coast, or really me, I don't know. Originally, Jim knows that I'm from Long Island, so only sure about the New York City area. Okay, the joke is that no one has ever seen a baby pigeon, and coming from that area, I can verify this. So, Jim, I have to tell you a story. Okay, in college, I had two friends. Okay, so I grew up in New York from Queens. Okay, and I went to a college in Queens. I mean, not in Queens, in Manhattan. And I make friends, and I have two out of state best buddies. Okay, and they were dorming in Brooklyn and commuting to Manhattan. And they came in one day, and they're all shaking. And they said, "You won't believe what we saw." And I said, "What?" He said, "We're walking on our way to the subway." And originally, this is like no joke. Okay, they said we were walking on Flatbush Avenue, and we were crossing a bridge, and there's a flock of pigeons, and we're like stop and watch them, and a van pulls up, and two guys jump out with a net, and they throw the net over the flock of pigeons, scoop them up, go back right in the van, and the van peels off. No joke. So
Mm.
you can wonder what happens to those pigeons.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a little bit of garlic and parsley or something. I don't
There,
know.
there
It's
you go.
like,
Now, Bruce says that's because they're from another dimension and they just appear here. Rumor is that they're statues, that statues are the portals. That's very interesting, Bruce, but I can tell you that they often appear in Chinese banquet menus. But originally, when it's civilized, they call it squaw.
there you go. All right, everybody, have a great night. Appreciate you, Hubie. I'll see you tomorrow.
All
Adios,
right,
guys.
guys.
Ciao for
Thank you,
now.
everyone, for joining.
Okay, bye-bye.